Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidum Majid. रब शरह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वाहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बना ज़िदना इल्मा या मुक़ल्लिबुल क़ुलूब सब्बित क़ल्बी अला दीनिक आमीन. Today we'll do Surah 3. This is a Makki Surah having 8 verses in it. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Wattini was Zaytun, by the fig and the olive. Waturi Sinin, by Mount Sinai. Wahuwal Baladil Amin, by this peaceful city. Laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani takween. Undoubtedly, we created man in the best form. Summa radadnahu asfala safilin. Therefore, we relegated him to the lowest of the low. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونٍ. Except those who believe and who carry out good deeds, there shall be a reward that will never come to an end. فَمَا يُكَذِّبُكَ بَعْدُ بِالدِّينِ. What is then that makes you deny Qiyamah? Alaysa Allahu bi ahkami mil hakimin. Is Allah not the wisest of the wise? Allah Ta'ala swears by the fig and the olive, both of which are blessed fruit and extremely beneficial. Referring to the olive tree in Surah Nur, Allah says, the blessed tree of the olive. Thereafter, Allah Ta'ala takes an oath by Mount Sinai. It is the same Mount Sinai that Allah refers to in verse 20 of Surah Mu'minun, Surah 23. This was the mount where Allah Ta'ala spoke to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Allah Ta'ala then takes an oath by this peaceful city, that is, by the city of Makkah, just as the subjects of the previous 3 verses are blessed. The fourth is also blessed because it contains the Kaaba, about which Allah says in Surah Al Imran that it is blessed and a guidance for mankind. Allah has then takes 4 oaths to emphasize that undoubtedly we created man in the best form. The intelligence and understanding of man is far greater than any other creation. Man is physically more good looking than the other creation, is able to speak better, and has a much more developed way of life. His behavior and mannerism are also much more refined. Man has 2 arms, 2 legs, and is taller than most creatures. The features of his face are also most attractive, as are his limbs. He is able to exercise fine motor control over his limbs and can accomplish delicate work as well as exert brute force. Allah has granted him beauty in every part of his body, and even the little part of the body like the teeth and eyes spark. His hair and his beard enhance his beauty further. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Pure is the being who has beautiful men with their beard and women with their long hair." A study of human anatomy will astound a person. Every limb of the body can move in many different ways. Man is able to hold, move, and lift various things with movements of his hands and arms. The thumb alone is a masterpiece of creation, without which man will be unable to hold things. The functioning of the ears and the eye, the mouth, the teeth, and nose all are wonders in their own right. gather together, gather together on the head. They form a beautiful and coherent assortment, each one complementing the other. The flexibility of the tongue, the arrangement of the teeth, and the mastery of the vocal cord allow men to roar like a lion and sing as beautifully as a nightingale. Allahu Akbar. Man's body can be bent in half from waist, allowing him allowing him to bow in ruku and also to prostrate in sajda. The flexibility of his waist and knee allows man to sit and to maneuver in almost any position. Together with this, his legs are able to walk with him, run with him, and even control the vehicles and animals he traveled with. The symmetry and proportion of every part of man's body is also a wonder in itself, lending its beauty if one has to ponder more deeply. The wonders of the human body will tire armies of writers and fulfill many libraries. In addition of all of this, Allah has also granted man intellect through which man is able to control other creation. A combination of man's physical intellect and intellectual capabilities has yielded millions of products which make life easier for man and assist him tremendously in his daily life. Speaking about the grace that he has blessed man with, Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Bani Israel, it is indeed true that we have granted honor to the children of Adam. We carried him on land and sea, provided him with pure sustenance, and granted him great superiority over many of our creations. Surah number 17, verse number 70. Man's physical beauty is evident from the fact that if the least attractive person was given the choice of exchanging bodies with the most beautiful animal, he would certainly refuse. Allah Ta'ala says further that after creating man is the best of forms, Allah Ta'ala relegate him to the lowest of the low. In the prime of his life, man is brimming with strength and vigor, and all his faculties are functioning at their best. However, when man ages, he grows physically weaker and even begin to lose his mental powers, prowess. His faculties begin to dwindle. He frequently forgets things. His body bends over and his legs can barely carry him. The man who was once supporting others now needs a support for himself. Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Yasin, he whom we advise in age, we diminish in structure. Do they not understand? Verse number 68. Allah Ta'ala then makes an exception when He says, except those who believe and who carry out good deeds, there shall be a reward that will never come to an end. This verse makes it clear that even after reaching old age, a moment is never useless. Even at the age, he can accumulate towards for the hereafter that are eternal. On the other hand, the kafir suffers the inhabitants of old age in this world and will still have mercy coming to him in the hereafter when he will be doomed to Jahannam. As even more satisfying interpretation of the verse is that which Malamat Tanzil reports from Hazrat Hassan salam, Hazrat Qutaba salam, and Hazrat Mujahid salam. They interpret the lowest of the low to mean the lowest level of Jahannam. Therefore, the verse mean that instead of being grateful for the perfect body and soul that Allah has granted him, man expresses ingratitude by disbelieving in Allah and refusing to follow the Anbiya alayhi salam. As a result, he becomes deserving of Jahannam. Among the kuffar and sinners, there are various ranks. some worse than others. Among them, there will be many who are deserving of the worst form of punishment in Jahannam. Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Nisa, most assuredly the hypocrites shall be in the lowest depth of the fire. Verse number 145. Whereas Allah made man in the best form, the kafir will be in the worst of conditions in the hereafter, despite the beauty and splendor he enjoyed in this world. On the other hand, the beauty of the mu'mineen will be enhanced in the hereafter, and they will enjoy a multitude of bounties in Jannah. After realizing that Allah created him in the best form when he was nothing and that he will keep moving from stage to stage, finally reaching the grave and the hereafter, a person ought to turn to Allah and accept his divinity. However, many people still refuse to believe and flounder in kufr and sin. Addressing them, Allah asks, what is it then that makes you deny Qiyamah? Allah has proven to man many times that He is perfectly capable of resurrecting him on the day of Qiyamah, just as He created him the first time. The magnificent creation of Allah also proves that Allah has tremendous power and strength. There should therefore be no scope for doubt. Allah concludes the surah by asking, is Allah not the wisest of the wise? The question is rhetorical because Allah is definitely the wisest of the wise, a fact already proven many times in the Quran. The phrase Ahkamul Hakameen, translated above as the wisest of the wise, can also be translated as King of Kings or the best of those who judge. Each of these titles applies to Allah, who is sovereign in this world and the next. Important note has been written here. Hazrat Abu Huraira Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu narrates from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that when one reaches the end of Surah Teen, one should recite, Allah is certainly the wisest of the wise, and I am witness to it. Similarly, when one reaches the end of Surah Qiyamah, that is Surah number 75, one should say, indeed Allah has the power of resurrect the dead. In a like manner, when reaching the end of Surah Mursalat, Surah number 77, one should recite, we believe in Allah, narrated by Mishkat, page number 81, from Sunan Abu Dawud. Allahu Akbar. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.